Welcome to today's Infopedia web conference titled What's New in SOF January 2017 edition. We are broadcasting this web conference via Skype meeting broadcast, and the audio can be heard through your PC speakers. Today's web conference is being recorded on behalf of the Microsoft Corporation. If you do not consent to being part of a recorded session, we ask that you please disconnect your browser at this time. Attendees may access the web conference recording via a link that will be delivered within 72 hours post-conference. You may ask a question at any time using the Q&A panel located either to the right of your screen or by scrolling down to just below the video pane. Our presenters are going to be taking your questions throughout the presentation and again at the end of the presentation during a formal Q&A. Ladies and gentlemen, if you experience any technical difficulties during today's web conference, first try refreshing your web browser by pressing the F5 key. If that doesn't work for you, you'll want to go ahead and click on the support link at the top right corner of your browser. And with that, we're going to go ahead and get started with today's session. Presenting for us today from Microsoft, we have Principal Customer Engineering Architect, Lester Hewitt. Lester, the floor is all yours.
Thank you very much, and thank you for spending some time with us today. So welcome. So for the next 60 minutes, I'm going to be providing an overview of the SOF January 2017 release. I wanted to start the session by sharing that this session covers what's new since we recorded the October 2016 SOF overview session, and there's a delta to the last recording. If you're not seeing the original SOF recording, I recommend that you do take some time to watch that. There is more information about SOF internals in that session. So just a quick intro to myself, and then we'll get into the materials themselves. So as I said, my name is Lester Hewitt. I'm Principal Customer Engineering Architect and one of the authors of SOF, as well as the overall coordinator. So I work with our teams to plan and deliver and operate SOF itself. So you may have seen me on a few of the other sessions and always look forward to talking to customers and partners directly at various events. Our team is part of the Skype for Business product group. And one of our goals is enabling organizations of any size to get to our Skype for Business online cloud service. We do this by providing best-in-class readiness and deployment services. And the Skype Operations Framework, SOF, is one of the initiatives that we created to help meet these goals. So let's have a little look at the agenda, what we're going to cover off during today's session. So I wanted to start by providing a brief introduction to SOF, but to do this in a slightly different way. For those people that have attended some of these overview sessions before, we hope to give you a bit of a different view of the Skype Operations Framework. We're going to use the lens of what we call the SOF outcomes approach, which is a new simplified way of looking at SOF through the outcomes that are delivered by executing SOF rather than the framework itself. This change has been informed through feedback and real-world usage, so there'll be a new lens to look at SOF, and we hope you find this of interest. And I'll explain where to download the full material for as part of that session. Then we'll transition into talking about what's new. You'll see some changes to the site. You'll see some new updated assets relating to some of our product updates. And then we'll talk a little bit about the SOF Quality User Experience release. So how we are really bringing together a number of assets to help you deliver quality and reliability for end users. And then we'll finish off with a final session around where to access SOF, a little sneak peek at what's coming next. And we'll finish off with some Q&A. So let's start by looking at an overview of the Skype Operations Framework and start looking at it from the context of business outcomes. You'll notice a little flag on the top right-hand corner of the deck here. It's just showing you that a few of these slides have been taken directly from the SOF Outcomes deck. So if you like what we're going to cover in the next 5-10 minutes, feel free to go to the Skype Operations Framework site, click on download, it's a second download, pull down the deck, and we'd love you to spend some time working through that and looking at some of the notes. So I suppose I'd like to start off by thanking you for considering or choosing Skype for Business Online Cloud Service to deliver your business outcomes. So we're going to introduce a new way of looking at SOF to understand it from an end-to-end point of view. And I said the next 6 slides come from our outcomes deck, and you can download them with full speaker notes from the SOF site. So when we think about why our customers and partners implement Skype for Business Online, it's really because they want to drive a set of business outcomes. Whether those business outcomes may be relating to connecting with their customers, working across their partners, working internally, connecting people at a distance. There's a number of different things they're looking for. And I think when we talked about the persona work a little while ago, we talked about some of the kind of universal communication profiles that are part of this and how these different types of work styles can be impacted and enhanced by the type of technology that Skype for Business brings to the organization. Effectively, what we need to look at with this is that those outcomes related to delivery are realized when your teams use Skype for Business and they incorporate communications to enhance those business processes. And one of the things that it's key to understand is that the quality is really underpinning usage. If the delivery is delivering a quality service that delights people, then teams gain confidence in using the technology and they find new innovative ways of doing things that drive business benefits. So we know that the capabilities of Skype for Business range across group collaboration, conferencing, fixed mobile telephony capabilities, as well as video and screen sharing. And users of various legacy offers in these areas expect always available, highly reliable experiences. As such, it really is crucial to treat Skype for Business as a first-class citizen with other communications and collaboration investments, prioritizing real-time traffic on a peer level with voice, conferencing, and other collaboration tools. By taking these steps and proactively understanding the environment, IT and end user teams will minimize user disruptions due to non-optimal configurations that really can be avoided. So when you think about it, Skype for Business Online is a real-time service, and there's more to do to achieve quality than just switch it on. It's key to understand that when planning to consume a real-time cloud service, there are activities and outcomes that your project needs to take care of, whether those are related to preparation and getting your environment set up right to deliver quality, whether it's related to driving user adoption, thinking about how to create communication so your teams understand why this technology change is being made and what's in it for them to drive the desire to change and adopt this new platform, and also to execute the ongoing management to ensure that quality and reliability are delivered and that any issues introduced by the environment are rapidly detected and remediated. So some activities and their appropriate outcomes are common across cloud services, and some are unique to real-time communication systems such as Skype for Business Online. So achieving a quality and reliable delivery is absolutely achievable. Let's start to explore how we can assist you. So this is really why we put together the Skype Operations Framework. We created it as part of the Skype for Business product to help you be successful with delivering Skype for Business and answer the key questions around your deployments. So we believe that following a framework that encompasses planning, delivering, and operating to execute and maintain any real-time system drives up quality and reliability. With the Skype Operations Framework with SOF, we're providing the practical guidance that covers what to do to achieve quality and reliability, and in what order to undertake key activities. So we provide assets for you to use and the associated training to become confident in using these assets. Let's start by looking at the key outcomes of plan, deliver, and operate, and then we can start to sort of change gear a little bit about what's new and has come for some of these materials. So I wanted to start by thinking about the perspective from plan. So planning is key to drive a common shared vision, and that common shared vision is crucial to minimizing surprises. So as the project executes, and we want to make sure that we really as a team have considered and understand the current environment, the key results we're looking to achieve, the situation on the floor, and the overall design, and making sure that everybody basically has an understanding of that. So, 4 key stages where the project undertakes activities to drive envisioning. So what are we going to achieve and how? Assess the current environment readiness, design the solution, for example, agreeing on firewall ports, PSTN interoperability strategies, and preparation for delivery. So the outcome that we want to focus on from plan is the creation of this common consensus amongst the project team, plus a shared view of the design and the readiness and remediation activities needed to prepare for successful deployment. So the idea behind plan is really, if you boil it down and strip it away, it's really making sure that we've got a shared vision to achieve the business outcomes. And it's key to ensure that the project team has the support of the executive sponsors, to drive awareness and to buy in to ensure that identified remediation activities and planning activities are correctly prioritized to drive success across multiple teams. So we know, and I think many of the people on the call will know, that to deliver Skype for Business Online does take a number of teams within the organization to come together to deliver this successfully. Having that shared vision at the beginning of this, which is the key outcome of plan, really helps to make sure it's got the right sponsorship and it's got the right delivery moving forwards. So let's think a little bit about the deliver phase as we go through now. So delivery or migration to the cloud service really takes place on a site-by-site basis, which requires coordination between teams. And when undertaken correctly, drives adoption and the long-term use of the service, enhancing business processes that leverage communication. So the key stages of delivery of clients, peripherals, and room systems, enabling users and initiating operations, driving adoption and looking for new opportunities for further enhancement as you deploy. The ongoing operational roles and capabilities need to be in place to land the first site with success. This is not something that can be simply tacked on as an afterthought, but needs to be initiated at this point, which defines roles and responsibilities. So it's really around making sure that the outcome of our deliver phase is this site-by-site execution, enablement, and adoption activities. And really making sure that as we're ready with that first site being run, what we're looking to do is make sure that our operational teams are up and running, ready to support those. So really boiling down again, looking at the outcome of deliver at this point. And our final phase is a key one here, which is really around how ongoing operations, which are key to long-term adoption and usage of the solution. So we operate the elements of the service located in the cloud, but your networks, clients, and configuration choices have an impact on the quality and reliability that teams experience. So the idea of the outcome around operations is that operations focuses on the day-to-day end-user management tasks and the monitoring of quality and reliability to identify and drive targeted and timely remediation of any issues discovered, driving adoption and return on investment. So if we think about the Skype Operations Framework from these three outcomes, again, it's really around driving that shared vision at the beginning. It's around executing on a site-by-site basis on a very repeatable process. And it's about then making sure that our ongoing tail of operations is really set there and it's driving adoption, usage, and ROI. Now, there's obviously another level of detail underneath another level of detail, but I'm trying to just share with you here, just looking at this from the point of view of the outcomes perspective. One of the things I would love you to do is to download the outcomes deck. And then what you can look at is you can see for each of our stages, we have a set of 5 or 6 outcomes that we would expect to get achieved at each of those. So trying to look at that from a point of view of the outcomes, then some organizations might look at it and go, hey, I get it. I know how to achieve that. Some organizations might turn around and say, hey, how can I help do this specific outcome? And that's where we have the assets and the workflow of SOF to help you achieve those. So just wanted to introduce that to you, and also as well to introduce a slightly different way of looking at the timeline of the Skype Operations Framework. So, delivering Skype Business Online successfully is a journey. The Skype Operations Framework SOF guides you through that journey. And here, as we look at the journey, we start to explore the activities and outcomes we engage in as we go through that. So typically, we've represented SOF as the wheel that you see in the top right-hand corner. But if we look at unpeeling that wheel, we can see how that unfolds over time and to see the relevant effort that we're taking place within plan, deliver, and operate. So as I said, we begin in the plan phase, and really most of our effort is around envisioning, getting that shared vision of where we're going, understanding the current lay of the land and what's currently there in the environment, corralling through the design, and then really making sure we're driving through preparation tasks. As part of those preparation tasks, that's where you will be scheduling those initial sites. What's the first site, what's the pilot site, and what's the first sites we look at over the rest of the quarter. And here as well, before we've even started thinking about the first user being enabled, we're looking at planning for operations. So bringing in some new assets, and a little sneak peek of what we're going to talk about in a bit, to help you really think about who needs to do what at that point. Who are the teams that are involved? What are the tasks they need to take place, and how would they execute them? Then we move into the deliver phase. This is where we'll get excited. We're starting to bring users and peripherals and sites online. But really, one of the things that we must make sure that is happening is before we do that first site, before that first pilot goes live, it's really important to initiate monitoring and support operations so that you've got very clear eyes on the environment and starting to understand what type of metrics make up quality, how to measure them, and what to do if you're not getting those types of metrics from the deployment. So then we move into our machine of deploying the clients and sites on a site-by-site basis. And then once those sites have been deployed, then we move into where more of our focus is around operating aspects around supporting, running, and monitoring. But also in the operate phase, we tend to find people deploying new sites, expanding into new regions, adding new features. So you can see that potentially we have this idea of the life cycle still continues. What we're doing then is just giving you an indication of effort over time as we run through a project delivered using the Skype Operations Framework. So again, we'd love you to, if you want to use this material internally, please feel free. You can download the SOF outcomes deck from our site. It's the second download on the download page. There's a whole lot of speaker notes inside there that can help you to re-deliver this internally. And we'd love to hear your feedback on this slightly different approach of looking at SOF. Don't worry, we still have the assets and we've got some new things we're going to show you. But from a point of view of trying to sort of talk somebody through what is SOF, some of the benefits you get from it, we hope that you find the outcomes something that's more a usable piece for you. So let's change gear slightly now and let's look at what's new in SOF for January. So I'd like to sort of cover off the four main topics that we'll cover off as we go through the next section. So first thing we want to talk about is the updates to the product that we have incorporated into the Skype Operations Framework. So one of the things that we said at the beginning of this is that we drive the Skype Operations Framework by results of feedback and also by changes to the product itself. So if we see new capabilities within Skype for Business Online, we'll add those into the Skype Operations Framework, but from the point of view of practical guidance, as in what is it that you need to do, to plan, to think about, to be able to execute with quality and reliability. So we will talk about the SOF quality user experience assets. So really having you an understanding of what additional materials have we provided to really help set the bar for quality, how to measure it, and what to do if you're not seeing quality. We'll talk a little bit about the SOF tailored journeys, so a new view into SOF activities and assets through the lens of your environment. We've talked a little bit about the SOF outcomes and the related activities, and then obviously as part of this there'll be new blogs and training materials provided on the site to help you get up to speed. So this gives you a little idea of the package of what's new. And with that, let's spend a little bit of time and look at the kind of what's new from the perspective of some of the new product updates that we launched in the Skype Operations Framework. So three main pieces of product update that have been coming through, and you'll see that so one of the key themes running through SOF is that we update the Skype Operations Framework practical guidance based on what's required for planning, delivering, and operating new features that we released to Skype for Business. We focused on, where possible, updating existing assets and minimizing adding net new assets. So trying to really make sure that we as people start to get comfortable with using the assets within the Skype Operations Framework to deliver outcomes, that they're getting, we extend those assets and make them familiar rather than bring in, many net new assets. From time to time, we do need to bring in net new assets, and we'll do those. And we're very mindful of spending the time thinking about internally whether we extend or we generate net new. And our general approach is to extend and add in some additional pieces that can be used as you go through the assets, so envisioning assets and some of those pieces. So I would like to also point out that for our three main areas, which is Meeting Migration Service, the upcoming regionally hosted meetings, and Skype Room Systems, each of those have got their own dedicated technical and SOF training sessions, and these are updates available on the Academy. So please, when you have time, take the time to look through these, find out about the technology from the technical training sessions, and understand how to use the new SOF materials around each of these. Each one will have its own blog launched over the coming weeks from a SOF perspective, and most of them have already got a blog related to technology. So really hope you enjoy incorporating and using some of these new capabilities within your projects. I just wanted to give you an idea of the kind of where we've updated. So we take quite a comprehensive view when we start to update. So if you're looking for assets that cover Meeting Migration Service or help you plan for the regionally hosted meetings, this is just giving you an idea of across the board where we've updated these documents to be able to put in extra slides, extra sections. Something that is net new is the regionally hosted meetings playbook. And what this helps you do is to look at your environment and to start to make decisions on which locations you would like to have certain offices and certain users as their meeting locations. So it helps you to do that planning so that once that service is fully rolled out, you've done the planning and you're ready to implement. So just give you an idea of the kind of mix of new to updated, and hopefully you'll see that many of the assets that we get very positive feedback on, such as things like the site rollout and questionnaire, get that kind of good feedback. So one area that you'll notice quite significantly difference if you go to the SOF site has been that we've added some new SOF interactive guides to our Get Deployed and Cloud Migration customer journeys. We've updated our QuickStart and the SOF site to enable you to tailor your journey through SOF based on 3 common customer environments. And we spent some time sort of discussing the types of customers that engage with SOF and looking at how we could tailor the assets and the durations and the sort of timescales of the projects to be more sensitive to 3 different types of environments. So, you know, when we chose this, we chose 3 different customer environments. We chose a sort of single office environment, so a customer who's got one single site, maybe it's an office, maybe it's a manufacturing facility, and they may have users who are working remotely or working home, but the majority of the workforce is based in one location. We then sort of jump onto the next kind of customer environment, which would be a customer where there's multi-site in the same region. So it could be a company in North America or a company in Europe, so forth, company in Australia or APJ. Or then we move into the final area, which is an organization that could be a multinational. So they have offices across multiple environments. And having worked through a number of these different types of environments, one of the things that we looked at was, okay, well, let's review the SOF tasks to decide which are actually key and relevant for each environment, because different levels of complexity may require certain SOF tasks to be executed. Areas where there's not quite so much complexity, maybe something that can be done a lot quicker and doesn't really require the requirement for a workshop to drive through that. So we also spent some time with these and we tailored the expected effort and the duration, so that you'll see that you can start to see some different project durations, some different task durations, and actually different listings of tasks based on the different target environment that is most appropriate to your project. So to engage with this, we'd love you to use the Quick Start button on the main home page, or you can also use our Get Deployed or Cloud Migration navigations on the Get Started page. Answer 2 quick questions, and we'll present this interactive, explorable view of the SOF activities. Each activity is ready and very willing to be explored, and by clicking the tiles, you can see in the slide in front of you, we've got the kind of little 4 blue tiles of project initiation, configure Skype Business Online call quality, so on and so forth. So each one of those basically has in the dark blue segment the outcome. So what do you get by doing this? What's the kind of point of doing that activity? And also, if you click into each one on the little flyout on the bottom right-hand corner of my screen, you can see that we cover a little bit around a description of what is this activity. We give you a little time estimate of how long does it take to do the activity. We give you an outcome. What are you actually going to get by doing this? We talk about the attendees, and just off the bottom of that scroll, you will then get a direct link to the SOF assets or the videos, or basically the training assets, whichever one we think is most appropriate. So by clicking each one of these tiles, it gives you much more of a kind of interactive, explorable view. You can also see on the right-hand side in the middle of the screen that we have this ability to slice this by timeline or by phase. So again, deciding how you want to look at SOF, you're going to get the ability to slice those pieces up. So you can slice them by environment, you can slice them by timeline and phase. And the idea is that you can then start to explore SOF and start to understand on a kind of activity by activity and take this at your own pace of what you need to do on a week by week basis. Again, the timelines and our estimates and based on our kind of guidance and our experience, and your mileage may vary in exactly how long some of these things take and how many pieces you may decide to bring together into a kind of like a smaller workshop that covers 4 or 5 areas. But we hope that you find this as a nice, interesting new way of exploring the Skype Operations Framework itself. So really hope you can spend some time looking at that. So to access that, it's through QuickStart or through the individual Get Deployed or Cloud Migration pages, and that replaces the kind of Visio diagram we had before. Hopefully that's something. So again, we'd love to hear your feedback on this. What's working, where do you see this going? Basically, feedback. It would be very, very powerful to get on this. So we launched this again about a week or so ago. A bit of an early kind of holidays present, but kind of more formally stating it here. So looking forward to getting your feedback on that. Okay, so let's now have a look at the meat of the 2017 deployment, the soft quality user experience assets. So we launched these yesterday, 16th of January, and we have follow-up training and blogs to provide more detailed information on each of these areas coming over the next couple of days. So if you've registered for this, we would love you to register for the follow-on managing and operational role mapping sessions that are coming over the next couple of days. And there'll be some blogs which will describe the troubleshooter and various other pieces in a bit more detail. So taking away some of my thunder there, let's rewind a little bit and then look at what we're actually going to be delivering. So we started this session by sharing the kind of three main areas of assess and prepare your environment, drive user adoption, and execute ongoing operations that underpin quality and reliability. So let's go dig into these a little bit more and share how the soft quality user experience guidance is leveraged throughout plan, deliver, and operate. So the assets that we launched on 16th January 2017 really set the scene that there are key metrics that need to be measured to understand the quality and reliability that end users are experiencing, along with how to interpret that information to drive impactful remediations. So to do this, key ongoing operational tasks are required. These assets help to understand how to set the bar, what needs to be done, who needs to undertake them, and how to execute. So when we set the scene, we consider the three main components that need to be managed. There's the service itself. Obviously, the Office 365 hosted components are managed and maintained by Microsoft, by us. But if you think about the enablement and configuration and end user management, that's managed by our customers or the Microsoft service partners. From a network perspective, they're typically managed by our customers and partners. And from endpoints, they're again typically managed by our customers and partners. But we're bringing together, if you think about this, to deliver Skype for Business Online successfully, it's really bringing together these three crucial elements of the Office 365 service with its service management aspects and end user management aspects across networks and across endpoints. So when we start to think about how we want to tackle and monitor and report on quality and reliability, we need to take into consideration this kind of main way of if you like, bringing together these three components of service, network, and endpoints. So our first asset we'd like to come across, there are two parts in this. The Manage a Quality and Reliable Service Delivery workshop really helps set the scene for how customers and partners should consider managing their deliveries to drive quality and reliability. So really, starts off by understanding and discussing what are the key components of the user experience. What are the key things that start to impact users? And understanding what the quality requirements are. So how do we what do we measure? What are the key metrics? What are the things that we need to consider to understand whether we have quality? And the key thing for that really is making sure that people become very familiar with the tools for accessing that end user experience. And finally, understanding what are those service management activities? What are the things that you have to do on a kind of daily, weekly, monthly basis? Which teams are involved in them? Who drives them forward? So that is really setting the scene with the Managing Quality and Reliable Service Delivery workshop. And it comes with a fantastic playbook, and that playbook really helps, and that's the Manage a Quality and Reliable Service Delivery playbook, which helps organizations operationalize key areas that have the greatest impact for improving end user experience. So whether that's covering audio, reliability, user services, devices, and clients. So the playbook is key to identifying operational tasks, establish targets for quality metrics, ascertaining metrics to organizational success, and narrowing areas of investigation as needed. So the playbook ships with two brand new accompanying core quality dashboard templates to make it easier to report and investigate the areas. And we provide information on the core quality dashboard to help customers understand their health with respect to quality and reliability, building the organizational level metrics, and then understanding quality on a per building and per subnet basis. So there's a lot here, and the playbook really is something that's been built based on our experience of working with our customers and our team. And we're really proud to be sharing this with you, and really hope that you can onboard the concepts and key components of this. As I said, there is training over the next couple of days in more detail, around the workshop and around the playbook. But this is something that I really encourage you to spend some time to dig into. And we've got some other accompanying assets as well that I'll announce in a couple of minutes' time that can really help you to get up to speed with this. So, it's a key that the playbook and the workshop are key central assets to managing a quality and reliable service delivery. And hopefully we've kind of given you whet your appetite, and love you to join us for the training sessions over the next couple of days to go into this in more detail. So one of the other key assets is the operational role mapping assets. And again, we have a workshop and we have a playbook to help you do this. So this is really around the who aspect of this, or whom, as one might say. And it's around understanding who are the correct teams, because correctly running the Skype for Business environment to deliver quality and reliability takes a number of teams to focus on this. And again, focusing on those three key areas of the service, network, and endpoints. For example, enabling users, updating clients, maintaining Wi-Fi, managing user settings, and so on and so forth. So with the operational role mapping assets, we provide clear practical guidance on who needs to do what based on this concept of operational roles. So we'd have an operational role, Skype for Business Operations. We have an operational role of network operations, and there's a few other areas inside there. And what we've done with this is that effectively we have predefined set of tasks and their descriptions for each of these operational roles. And we describe the description, how often you do them, the cadence, and the effort that's required. So that we basically bundle them up together. So we give you this idea of our practical guidance around, well, what should the Skype for Business Operations team be looking at? What should the network operations team be looking at? And then what you're able to do then is you're able to map specific teams in your organization or in your partner organization into those roles, so that you now have a very clear idea of which team is going to undertake which role, what tasks they're accountable for, so that those teams can start to understand what training requirements they may have, understand what accountabilities they have, and start to do this very early within the plan phase. So it becomes part of that shared vision and shared consensus of who's going to be operating this environment moving forwards. So it's very key, basically, that operational role mapping, it takes place early in the design phase. So that's when we would start to expect people to use the manage a quality user service delivery workshop, and also operational role mapping, actually part of that design activity, so that by the time we exit plan, we really have that true understanding of the design. It's covered, design for operations, and it's also basically covering off the kind of shared vision of who's going to be doing what. So the key point around this is that we come out of the box with this predefined operational role mapping. And as you'll see in the training, if you decide that that needs to be tweaked or edited or changed for your environment, there's more complexity in there, or there's some additional components that weren't in our standard piece, those can be extended and taken forwards. So again, looking forward to hearing feedback on the operational role mapping assets, again, which were released yesterday. So we all know that from time to time, we have to troubleshoot some problems. So one of the new pieces that we're launching an initial set of SOF online troubleshooting guides to help you troubleshoot problems with Skype for Business, both online and also some on-premises material as well. These really are a sort of best efforts option to provide guidance, and they're not replacing any of the official support processes or avenues. We want to stress with this that if the IT admin, which is really the target that we're looking at, is faced with a major impact, then they need to go straight to the standard support channels. So it's something that's impacting all of your users or having a major impact, then standard support channels are the good place to go. Really, our target audience here is IT administrators with kind of minimum / medium experience with the product. We wanted to provide help when the IT admin has a problem. So the IT admin may have tried his or her own remedies and is now looking for assistance with a set of curated and managed troubleshooting guides. So these guides are based off our own learning and experiences, but all tools and processes that are shared are publicly available. So the IT admin has turned to the SOF web troubleshooting guide for help. He or she is expecting a quick push in the right direction to help resolve his or her problem. And that's really what these troubleshooting guides provide. They're, if you like, they are the online tool asks the IT admin to select a problem category, and we have a initial set of these. We will extend these over time, There are some simple scoping questions to help try and understand which of the troubleshooting guides may be most relevant. And then we suggest guides or links to existing online tools. And then the person can download the guide and use that to hopefully troubleshoot their problem to success. There are, as we said, this is really an initial set of these troubleshooting guides, so we will add more over time. If you go through the troubleshooter and you find that the problem you're trying to work on isn't necessarily something that we can provide guidance on, please leave us feedback and we can take that into consideration for future updates. So think about this as an initial piece. We'd love you to sort of keep coming back here on a kind of monthly basis, have a look. Obviously, as we add more troubleshooters to this, we will blog about it to let you know. But it's hopefully a resource that you're going to find value in to help you troubleshoot some of those issues. But I must just restate that if it is, if you're having a complete service down issue, then the standard support process is definitely the place to go. This is really trying to help people work in a slightly more structured fashion when they're looking to troubleshoot Skype for Business issues. As well as the online troubleshooting guides, we've also taken the time to update the basic support troubleshooting guide as well. So you'll see a slight difference with this document. So effectively, the online troubleshooters are providing the scenarios and the scenario-based guidance. And the basic troubleshooting document effectively is providing more guidance on how to use the common tools. So that if you want to find out about the common tools, what are they, what should be getting up to speed on, then please look at the SOF basic troubleshooter document. And if you want to find out scenario-based help, then come to our online piece. And they're all linked together, so it'd be easy for you to find either of them. And I'm not sure if you can see from the little screenshot I took, but hopefully if you're following live and you're investigating the SOF site as I'm talking, which hopefully many of you will be, you'll see there's a nice new troubleshoot tab up in the top right-hand corner there. If you click the troubleshooter and start to go through the process. Okay. So moving on to the next new area that we wanted to look at here, and hopefully you're getting the feeling this really is around, we talked about this as the quality user experience release, and all of these pieces are kind of there to help you deliver quality and reliability to your end users with the service. And the last main area that we wanted to share was really something we're very proud about. So really allowing you to introduce you to a number of new team members and to introduce you to a set of new core quality dashboard videos. So we have created this Investigate Media Quality using Core Quality Dashboard video series. There's 6 videos. Each video is between sort of 15 to 20 minutes, half an hour long. And the idea is that they build on each other to really help you master using the Core Quality Dashboard. So each video builds on the previous set. We recommend that you watch them in order, but also, we know some people are going to feel free to dip in. If you're dipping in somewhere and you're thinking, oh, they just introduced a concept I've not heard of before, it's probably been introduced in some of the earlier videos. So maybe you want to go back and download that video. So I mentioned that as part of the playbook, we also introduced some new core quality templates, and these templates are also, we show you how to use these during these videos. So think about the core quality dashboard videos as being a companion to the playbook. What they're there really to do is to really demonstrate, people who use these tools day in, day out to help troubleshoot customer problems and help to, investigate media quality. We asked them to really sort of spend some time putting their thoughts down on how they use these tools and building up this little library of core quality dashboard videos. So again, this is something quite new. It's a new thing that we've provided. It's a new way of consuming materials. They're all fairly short and to use one of our colleagues' terms, very snackable. And they can be accessed from the SOF Academy training page in the Operate section, and they could also be accessed from within our navigation within Operate. So again, these are designed really to help you build and investigate those diagnostic skills and really get up to speed with using our core quality dashboard. So I'm really happy that these have been produced, and we're looking forward to getting the feedback from people who are using them. Okie dokie. So one of the things I wanted to just give you a bit of an overview of is just to kind of, maybe bring in all together all of the areas that are to do with quality user experience and showing you effectively how we have materials from the outcome perspective, which is the new outcomes deck, running through planning, assessing, designing, running through there, and then basically preparing for the Operate aspects itself. So just giving you a bit of a view for new assets and also for assets that have been updated. And again, if you look on the launch blog, which we published yesterday. We've got direct links for many of these assets. They're all available to download from the SOF site, and they're also all represented within the SOF interactive guide. So a number of different ways of you being able to consume this material. But lovely to spend some time looking at the high quality reliable service delivery playbook and workshops to really get a good idea of that planning aspect and seeing where you are going, and hopefully provide you some guidance with that. As I said as well, there is follow-on training on sort of Wednesday and Thursday of this week for the high quality reliable playbook and the online role mapping piece. So really like you to take a chance to opportunity to come join those sessions and learn from the masters. Okay, so a couple of quick little pieces just at the end before we go into Q&A. And so if I really want to see those fingers of people who want to basically start typing some questions in, and hopefully Thomas has got some nice questions for us. Just as a quick question of where do we go to get this material? Again, it's the Skype Operations Framework.com site. So we've extended this with our QuickStart Guides. From here you can get the journeys, the assets and the tools, trainings, partners, feedback, community, blogs, and also the downloads. Great place to go. Really like you to use the Quick Start button if this is sort of first time of accessing this. As I said, use that as a way of accessing the interactive guides, or you can also look at this through Get Started. So some different ways of accessing our materials. So that's really giving you a kind of a view of the current shipping that we shipped yesterday for our quality user experience. Again, if we sort of, where the SOF never sleeps and the SOF team don't seem to get much either, but hey ho, we keep on driving this and moving this forward, helping out our customers and partners. And so we're continuing to plan and work on the next version and the next set of SOF materials. We tend to release on a kind of quarterly basis. Sometimes we're a bit earlier depending on the timescales. But again, remember that your feedback and your thoughts around the changes that we made, especially around the looking at some of the simplification aspects and looking at some of the interactive guide and troubleshooters and the new quality user experience pieces. We'd love to hear your thoughts for that and look to see how we can embed that into our next round of development. Future updates, we'll see some updates based on product changes. We'll see some updates based on how we can add some more aspects to SOF to make it easier for people who've got in-flight projects and how they might land those a bit easier. There's definitely some updates around things like number porting and potentially some of the optimization aspects as well. So again, we'll see over the next, when we launch the next version of SOF, we'll see updates driven by changes to the Skype for Business product. And we'll also see updates, changes based on feedback and some of the things that we're working on. So that's a sneak peek of what to expect going forwards. Again, there are lots of virtual training available. So if you go to our Skype Operations Framework.com on the Learn It page, you can get a good view of technical and SOF pieces. And then from the community perspective, we love hearing feedback. We'd love you to provide it. So Skype Operations Framework.com/feedback gives you access to the that site. We do read this basically, and we take the feedback on board as part of our quarterly planning processes. And we look at how that's going to run, and we look at what we're doing with assets and what we can change, what we can update. The SOF community, great place to go to start having more of a discussion. If you want to start discussing about how other people use assets, or you want to share your experiences of using assets and want to have more of a discussion rather than a sort of feedback type approach, then we'd love you to come to the SOF community and start making some discussions, and then keeping up to date, obviously, on the SOF blog. So whenever we launch anything new, whenever we just provide updates to existing assets or want to provide a little bit more information to the training that's provided, then potentially would also provide that using the SOF blog. So again, stress strong enough, please, we'd love to hear your feedback from the things that we've just released. And we effectively want to hear your discussions as well. Take part, discuss with the team around thoughts, around areas. It's always a good place to interact and hang out. So if we just have a quick look at before we get to Q&A, if we kind of look at some of the learning objects. So, the key updates for that release are really the SOF quality user experience assets. So that was the managing a quality and reliability service delivery workshop and playbook. I'm really like you to really get familiar with that playbook and understand how that's going to help you with setting the bar for quality and also managing to quality. There's the operational role mapping assets that really help set up and help that design for operations. You now have got a very good view of who's going to be doing what from the operational perspective. We have the new online troubleshooters really helping you, and that initial set of troubleshooters of diagnosing issues, and also the online call quality dashboard videos really helping you to get up to speed and understand and really become much more comfortable with using call quality dashboard, as it's a great tool for having that visibility into quality and reliability. We talked a bit about SOF outcomes. There'll be a separate session around SOF outcomes for those people that want to attend that. We'll publish that in the next few weeks. And the deck is available for anybody that wants to go through that. Really, that's a nice way of talking through SOF with someone who's not seen about it for the first time, looking at the outcomes perspective rather than focusing too much on the kind of major technology, to be able to have more of an interesting conversation, potentially to also help to understand whereabouts in the life cycle could a project be, and starting to tease out which kind of outcomes may already have been delivered, which ones didn't get delivered, and then cycling back to the associated SOF assets to try and see which ones would you like to look at. And then finally, a key thing around this is the SOF interactive journey. So the work that we've done with QuickStart and the kind of get deployed in cloud migration site to really help to tailor this to a number of different customer environments to hopefully make it easy for you to explore and to investigate the assets and materials that we provide as part of the Skype Operations Framework. So thank you very much for listening to me with this. I'm going to hand back to Holly and Janice and to them to see if we have got any questions for some Q&A.
All right, thank you, Lester. All right, audience, as Lester mentioned, we are going to be starting our Q&A in just a moment or two. If you'd like to ask a question, go ahead and type your question into the white text box located either on the right-hand side of your screen or by scrolling down to under the video pane. Simply type your question in the white text box, click Ask, and we will get to your question as soon as we can. Before we do that, though, I'd like to bring your attention to a link in the upper right-hand side of the viewing window that says, "Please take a short survey." That's a link to a short survey for this web conference, and we ask that you please take a moment before logging out to access it. We hope that you found today's information helpful, and if you enjoyed today's web conference or have feedback on how we can provide you with a better event, this is your chance to let us know. The survey scores are on a scale from 1 to 5, with 5 being the highest score possible. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it back to Lester to see if we have any questions. Lester?
Thank you. So I've seen a few questions have come in as I've been talking, so feel free to carry on, put some more in there. I'm very happy to answer your questions as they come through. So one of the ones that we got in was a question about in what situations should I use the new soft troubleshooters versus my standard support process. I think at the end of the day, if you are, we're not replacing the standard support process, we're really kind of augmenting it. So are those situations where you're trying to troubleshoot a problem, and typically you might have maybe you fire up your search engine to start having to look for things and for other pieces. We'd love you to come to the SOF site and to look to see if we have any categories that might match what you're trying to troubleshoot, and whether we have any troubleshooting guides. I think, as I said in the presentation, if there's a really serious major issue, then we strongly suggest that you follow the standard support processes and raising tickets through the Office 365 support portal or through your kind of Microsoft support relationships. So if it's something that is very, very timely and time critical, then please leverage the standard support process. If it's something where you're just looking for some guidance on troubleshooting and it's something that you've decided you want to sort of sink your teeth into to start working through and understand a bit more about how things work, then hopefully the troubleshooting guides will be very useful for you. And one thing I didn't mention is that in the basic troubleshooter, which is available as a download on the SOF site, we've also added some, if you like, sort of troubleshooting 101, some things to think about which can help you plan your troubleshooting and process it in a way that potentially makes it more efficient and more optimal. And at the end of the day, if you do follow through the troubleshooters, we will normally have recommended the key logs that you need to take and thinking about, so that if you were to then continue and raise a support call after going through the troubleshooters, you've got sort of most of the information a support person might need. So it tends to kind of help that process as well. So a question about, is the SOF outcomes an official step in SOF now? Well, that's a very good question, and thank you very much for providing that one. So I wouldn't have said an official step. What I'd say more about is it's a way of being able to provide overview of everything that's in SOF. If you think about the SOF as a whole, there's the 2 customer journeys, there's 100 and something odd assets in there. What we're trying to do with the SOF outcomes is effectively to provide more of a kind of a discussion point of each of the phases and each of the stages. So if you were to look at the SOF outcomes deck, you'll see that we go into detail on what are the outcomes and the key activities that happen in envision, in assess, and design, and in prepare. And then for each one, there are 5 or 6 outcomes. So it's just another way and a simplified way of looking at SOF all up to start to understand the impact and hopefully the positive impact that following SOF can make to your organization. So hopefully that answers that question. So it's looking at the plan, deliver, operate, and the associated stages, just with a slightly different lens, and thinking about, well, what do I get, or what's the outcome of executing each of these, having a kind of a higher level discussion to agree there's value in that for your organization, and then deciding to dig into the Skype Operations Framework in more detail. So, from the point of view of getting to grips with Skype Operations Framework, I would say that the SOF Outcomes deck is a very good place to start, because it helps you to understand, what those outcomes are, how they could be relevant, and then drives up the kind of the inquisitiveness and encourages the kind of the view of going to investigate and explore using the interactive guides. So we had a question around sort of a light version coming out for smaller customers to reduce planning needs. So one of the things that we did with the interactive guide is basically to have a one radio button talks about a customer who may have just one site. And what we've done in there is basically to look at the tasks that are important. They're still based on the outcomes, a number of tasks that are key to execute. But what we looked at is how long does it actually take to execute those tasks? Which things one would combine together and potentially execute them in a much shorter time frame than for somebody who, an organization that was multi-site or multi-region. So we'd encourage you to have a look at the interactive guides, have a look at the kind of single site type variant, and start to have a look at how a number of these tasks potentially have been sort of compressed together into shorter time scales to work through. And last one, I think, and we've got a couple of minutes left, is where do I find the interactive guide? So the question come up from there. So again, there's 2 ways of accessing the interactive guide. Either you can go to the main front page and click on the QuickStart button, the bright blue one right in the sort of middle right-hand side, or you can go to the Get Started menu item across the navigation at the top, and then click into Cloud Migration or Get Deployed, and that will help you to run through those. So, at the end of the day, the key thing with all of this is what we're trying to do is to provide you that sort of guidance that helps you to be able to deliver Skype Business Online with quality and reliability. So I think that was all the questions that we had for now. If folks want to discuss more about this, we have the discussion forums that we put up on the screen earlier on. There's some feedback loops, and also we'd love people to contribute feedback, at various events and things that the SOF team attend. We're always very happy and always very pleased to talk to customers and partners about their feedback. So with that, I will say from my perspective, thank you very much for taking time to listen to this session, and look forward to hearing your feedback on our new updates. So I'll hand it back to Holly and Janice.
All right, thank you, Lester. All right, audience, this does conclude today's web conference. Attendees may access the web conference recording via a link that will be delivered within 72 hours post-conference. I'd like to extend a big thank you to our presenter, Lester Hewitt, and thank you, audience, for logging in and joining us today. This does conclude today's broadcast, and you may now disconnect from